All right, what is up, my brothers? So in this video, I've got a request to respond to this email. The subject line reads, "Old beliefs are holding me back." Let's throw it up on the screen and hop right into this one and see what this guy's got for us. It says, "Hey, Rich, I've been following your channel for over a year. Big fan. Thanks for all the great content. And of course, a book. Quickly about me. I'm 28, 6 foot tall, good shape, making 300 grand a year, and I live in Europe." He's pinned his social media, which I'll get into in a second. My entire childhood and adolescence, I was fat, dorky, naive mama's kid. I got no attention from women. Kissed a girl when I was 19 and also wasn't very popular with the cool kids. I had some friends, but they were dorks as me. All right, that's pretty much not every, but a lot of guys' story growing up, for the most part. We weren't all, we weren't on board chads, right? Generally, I was on the feminine side, a bit too timid, sensitive, which is what you'd say if you'd look at my pictures now. Oh, sorry, which is not what you'd say if you look at my pictures now. All right, well, I'll be the judge of that. We'll get to that in a second. My father has always been an amazing role model for me. Definitely not beta. Well, okay. I'm starting to question what you're writing me here because you're telling me you as a kid growing up was basically a feminine beta, but you're saying your father was a perfect role model and not a beta. So how did that happen? Uh, let's see. He has boundaries. I took my work ethic from him, but due to our culture, he didn't spend much time with me, as in, son, let's go play ball, or I'll tell you about life, how to be a man. All right. Well, that'll explain part of that. So you're raised mostly by your mom. Father sounds like he went out and, got the bacon and brought it home for the wife to cook up, sort of thing, right? So long story short, in my 20s, I decided to pull my shit together and transform myself, got fit, lost 30 kilos. That's a lot. Put on some muscle, grew a beard, learned pickup and how to make money. I've also been seeing a therapist and learned how to hold my boundaries, especially with women, and got on a red pill about 1.5 years ago. I always wonder what guys get from therapists. I mean, you're emailing what is technically a random dude on YouTube to help you solve this problem. Why isn't his therapist able to solve it for you? But I will help you out, my friend. We will get to some answers. The problem, I feel like my old beliefs are still holding me back. Well, why isn't your therapist helping you with that? I still feel like a beta dork inside. There's a book. I don't think, oh, I still have it here. It's called Psycho Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. The premise of it essentially is it's an older book and it's been updated. It's a definite recommended read that I've mentioned to guys before on my channel. But he was basically talking about assessing people's mental model, their mind's eye, from pre and post corrective surgery. I think he talks in the book specifically about dealing with people that were getting plastic surgery to deal with things like war wounds or fire burns, things like that. And when he started dealing with, like the regular public for plastic surgery, breast augmentation, whatever it happened to be, he started to notice that for the most part, almost everybody, whatever improvement you made to their face to make them look as they were before, the injury or the damage, for example, they still had that limiting vision of themselves. Okay. I would recommend that you read that book right off the bat, because if you've got limiting beliefs, feeling like you're still a beta dork, even though you've done the work on yourself and your outward appearance has changed, but your inner beliefs for yourself, your mind's eye sees yourself still as a dork, but you look better, from the optics of strength, masculine, all that sort of thing. That book will help you out. So check that out. So there's a good resource for you. The problem, I feel like my old beliefs still holding me back. Okay. It's a weird mix. I have no problem to approach a girl on the street, take them on a date, have sex, but then I'm super needed for and want to see me. All right. If a girl flakes, my reaction is always, what's wrong with me? Look, women flake. All right. It's a numbers game. Look, it really is. I don't know if you have this preconceived notion that because you watched a few videos on YouTube or read a few books or whatever, that you're supposed to have a massively improved, reduction in flake rates. Women flake. Women flake all the time. The difference between an unplugged guy and a plugged in dork is a plugged in dork thinks that when a woman flakes, is it me? What did I do wrong? Why are, I don't know, whatever. Why am I only getting dates like 5 out of 10 times or 3 out of 10 times and the other 5 to 7 flake on me, sort of thing? It's a numbers game. Even the best players out there, even your top shelf pickup artists, whoever they happen to be, you figure it out, will still tell you that they have a very high flake rate. Most women will say no. They're just disinterested. They don't have genuine burning desire for you. And that's okay. Why would you want to deal with a chick that doesn't dig your vibe, right? Like, what are you getting hung up on? Something as simple or as basic as, oh my God, she flakes, so there must be something wrong with me. I'm still the dorky, naive kid, for example. To like take that crappy belief around behind the back of the barn, beat it with a stick, bury it 6 feet under, be done with it. It's not true, right? Women flake. It's a reality of life. And in fact, you want women to flake because you want the people that aren't interested in you, these chicks that don't dig your vibe, to get lost and not waste your time, money, or resources or attention. So you can use it for, something more useful, like making money, going to the dojo, hanging out with your friends, banging the chick that has genuine desire for you. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, all the while, I don't care about losing that specific girl. So he's saying, if the girl flakes, my reaction is always, what's wrong with me? And then he also says in the next breath, all the while, I don't care about losing that specific girl. It's just that when she rejects me, it confirms the old dark belief that I'm still the dorky, naive kid. Well, on one hand, you're saying, what's wrong with me? And on the other hand, in the next breath, you're saying, I don't care about losing that specific girl. So which is it, bro? Like, what is it? Is it what's wrong with me, or is it I don't care? Because you're telling me you're sitting on the fence. It's not like, it can't be both. It's got to be one or the other. And he says, or if I see a group of men who are perceived cooler than me, I start getting defensive and passive aggressive in my head. Well, there's always going to be a cooler Chad than you out there. It doesn't matter who you are, what you think you are, have accomplished in life. There's always going to be somebody better. You being insecure about groups of men, as you put it, that you perceive cooler than you, you're basically having anxiety over guys which you look at that you deem as higher value than yourself. You have to look, even if you're not the Don, even if you walk into the room and you're not the fittest guy, the richest guy, the smartest guy, the tallest guy, the funniest guy, the guy with the best game, you have to walk in the room with the attitude that you do have all of those things, right? It's just a reality of life, guys. This should be basic material. I'm actually surprised that somebody that's done this much work on themselves and making this kind of money and leveled up is still holding themselves back with this crap. It feels like I learned the moves, but inside I'm still acting from a place of scarcity. Yes, you are. And that is the big problem, I'll tell you right now, with the Mano Swamp, is they spend a lot of time getting you to memorize the moves, regurgitate certain lines when you cold approach a certain girl. Or if she says that, then you text that. And if she texts this, then you text that. And it's like, they don't see, you need to adopt the game. You need to become the game. You need to unplug as a guy. It's not something that you temporarily, do because you've read a few books or watched a few videos. It's something that you become. And your problem is that you have not become this new version of yourself that you outwardly look at in the mirror and see. But unfortunately, inside, you still see yourself as a fat nerd, right? Is basically, what you're saying. The fat, uncool nerd, right? So you're saying, how do I stop acting from my past identity and embrace it, what I've become, a dude in his 20s that ticks off all the sixes? How do I stop being needy and enough for myself? Would love to hear your words of wisdom. Thanks, man. All right. Well, let's remove this. I'm going to throw up your Instagram here on my other page. I'm not going to share it on the screen because you asked me to keep it private. Your Instagram is relatively small account, just over 1,000. You've got your accolades in the description, mentions being featured on Forbes. Good for you. Has a YouTube channel as well, apparently. Doesn't have that much engagement. So you're missing out on some of the social proof. Your photographs are actually pretty good, to be honest with you. One of my guys is putting together a course on Instagram, which is going to be added to my school in the future. And yours is pretty decent. It needs some improvement. You don't have much social proof. I don't see, let's see, what do you got going on here? They're mostly just pictures of you, which is okay, but are you doing anything particularly interesting? Standing in front of boxes, arms crossed, leaning against a bridge, standing beside a dude that looks like you're hiking with. There's some stuff in here that's somewhat interesting. You're obviously musically inclined, funny kind of photographs here and there, which is good. I mean, look, some of the women that you've got yourselves here with, they're very average. If you women want to be with guys that other women want to be with, sort of thing. And if you're using your Instagram to send social signals of your value, your net worth. A lot of guys have been using this term high value guy, sort of thing. The women that you've featured, whether they're, I don't know if they're family, friends, girls that you're dating, a sister, I have no idea. But I mean, the women, like the women that you've featured in some of these photographs, they're very basic, they're very average. If you're going to feature women in your photographs, use more attractive women. I'll say that. But as far as what you're portraying, oh, this one looks like a tranny at the bottom. But as far as what you're portraying here, as far as lifestyle and doing things, I'd say it's pretty good. I mean, you're a pretty decent looking guy. You say you're 6 foot. You shouldn't have the problems that you're talking about. You really shouldn't. The way that you're describing what's going on in your head is exactly what Maxwell Maltz talks about in psychocybernetics. Get that book and read it so you understand why it's happening. A lot of guys are rational, deductive thinkers, and once they essentially see the code in the matrix and they unplug, then it can become a part of them. I don't think that you understand that the work that you've done on yourself, for the most part, is fairly considerable, but your outward appearance, your looks, the optics of who you are, what you do, the kind of income that you earn, the things that you're doing with your life, where you're going with it, sort of stuff, are completely different than what you believe yourself to be. And look, I mean, how do you let go of limiting beliefs? I mean, babies do it. I mean, if a baby can do it, why can't you do it as an adult? Like, I'm sure a baby sits there and thinks to himself or herself, well, I can't walk because I don't have any strength in my legs or whatever, or there's something over there that I want to get. But they take a slow approach to moving their bodies around in the world, right? They start doing this thing called cruising, where they'll stand up and they'll grab onto things and they'll kind of walk around and use it to balance, right? Like, I got a nephew that's doing that now. And then they move from that to walking and tripping and picking themselves up and walking and tripping, they're like running, and maybe they get to a track meet and they do a marathon at some point. You see what I'm saying, though? But it's like, it's small steps towards the goal. And have you identified the goal? Does a goal matter that much to you? Are you actually willing to work on you yourself, like the inner part, if you know what I'm saying? You've done the work on the outside. You've made the money, you've grown the beard, you've done the looks, you've adopted frame to some degree, you've learned what women respond to some degree as well. But the part that you suck with is basically the software. The hardware is updated. Okay. I think you're in tech, so you should understand the analogy that I'm about to use here. The hardware has been updated. It's just the software is still broken. So how do you fix the software? You update it. You create a new version of it, right? That's how, phones get updated with new versions of operating software, and computers and things like that. You update it with the newer versions. And to get to the final operating version that you want, where you actually become the game, where you're not, watching videos or reciting certain lyrics to try to get girls to respond to you, sort of thing. You just like, she didn't respond. Who cares? She ghosted me. So what? Doesn't matter. I got 3 or 4 other options in my phone that I can pick up right now and call over, and they'd be more than enthusiastic, right? That's where you need to get to. So, like I said earlier, unplug those shitty beliefs, the ones that aren't serving you. Take them around behind the back of the barn, beat it with a stick, bury it 6 feet under, call it a day, and be done with these limiting shitty beliefs that aren't serving you. Read Maxwell Maltz, Psychocybernetics, and start living your best life, man. I mean, you're off to a good start. I think that the problem that you have is that you think that doing a few of these things and changing your outward appearance and getting some likes and, a few, hey, great photograph, I wish I was there with you, sort of thing, maybe on the social media, might make you believe that, oh, now that I've done that, every girl should respond to me and she should never flake, or they'll never ever ghost me, sort of thing. And it's like, wrong. Even some of the best looking guys out there with the tightest game, with loads of money, still get flaked on by girls. Women flake. That's part of who they are. It's part of their hypergamous nature. They're always going to look for the better deal that they can possibly get. If they think, even if you're right at the top shelf, a top 10%, top 1% guy, even, there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to be better than you. And if she's hot, women have an unlimited supply of guys to choose from. So don't think for a minute, just because you ran some tight game or you sent some funny texts, or she sent you a couple of good morning, hey, how are you? I can't wait to see you tonight. And then next week she ghosts you because something else goes on in her life. Who cares what it is? It doesn't matter. Maybe she got a job. Maybe she's working overtime. Maybe she's getting dicked down by Chad. Maybe it's like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Why are you spending so much energy and effort worrying about what other people think of you? When you stop caring, like my t-shirt says, when you stop caring about the opinions of others, then you're truly free to move around. And that includes women. Get yourself to that point, you're golden. Leave a thumbs up, comment below, leave some advice for this guy. If you guys want to get some merch like this, I don't have it on YouTube anymore, but you can go to my Instagram. There's a link tree, a link there, and you can find merch for things like mugs and shirts. And if you want to request a video like that, that link is pinned below in the top comment of this video. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.